Hello everyone. Today we're going to be reviewing the Elegoo Mars resin printer. So just to start off, I've had this printer for, I want to say, about 3.5, 4 months now. And, really it's a hit or miss printer. My printer is one of the newer versions. I believe it's the MY09. And it seems to be that these newer models are missing the either QC stages or they're just being kind of put out there without proper testing. And the reason why I say that is mine had a major Z height issue. So when I printed off my calibration cube, I ended up having about a millimeter off of what it was supposed to be. So if anybody knows anything about 3D printing and calibration settings and things like that, I printed the Cali Cube, it's called, and those are supposed to be 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter. Obviously, when you print that on a resin printer, really the Z height axis is really the main one that you're focusing on. But the other ones are, important as well because that'll let you know that your exposure setting is correct or not. So I entered in my exposure settings as I normally would because I had it dialed in pretty well. I was using Anycubic Black. And so I ended up printing it because I had thought that something was a little off. The parts that I was printing weren't coming out correct. The tolerances were way, way off, and they were just wonky all around. So I printed the Cali Cube. Sure enough, it came out to be 19 millimeters tall instead of 20. So that right there was posing a huge issue with this printer. Now, besides that, this printer has been a pretty good printer for the most part. I have had some fails here and there, one which I did a video about, but for the most part, it's just been your normal, everyday, average 3D resin 3D printer, where it has its failures. It's going to happen, and more or less why it happens is because when you're using these type of build plates, I'll take this lid off here. When you're using these type of build plates, these are really weird because they have like a full 90-degree rotation, 40 to 45-degree rotation. Not really sure what degree it is, but they move all around. So when you're taking this off and you use it to take your prints off, you use a scraper or something like that. Obviously, you're using some force. So when you do that, it tends to unlevel itself quite often because these two screws just don't hold it very well. Now, there is upgrade screws for it. I didn't end up doing that, at least not yet. But there are upgrades for that, and that'll help tighten those down and keep them how they are. Excuse me. So I did print at least 2 upgrades for this. At least I think that were upgrades to help out with the printer in general. First one is this little simple print. This is a resin vat stopper. So one of the issues that I noticed compared to like my Anycubic Photon or my G-Tech DP200 or really any other printer that I have is the vat slides in here, but you can go all the way to the back and hit the Z-rod. So I had a hard time trying to get the position of the vat to lock down properly. So this is a nice little quick print, and you just slide it in there, and what it'll do is it'll stop the vat right where it needs to be. So I'll show it off right here, and show you, I think this is the vat for it. So if I do this, I can go all the way to the back there. So as you can see, there's the huge front lip here. So when we put this on there, it doesn't seat down or anything. It just kind of slides in there, and boom, right there. You're stuck. Nothing moves. So you can properly lock it down and get it rocking and rolling right away. So you don't have to do the guesstimating of like, oh, am I too close or am I too far? Where am I supposed to be doing this? Oh, here's the little things right there. You don't have to do that. So this print is definitely very, very nice to have. I will include the prints that I use and all the stuff that I use on this printer in the links below. So if you guys are interested in those, they will be down. And just to let you know, they will be affiliate links. So if you are purchasing anything for the printer and it's an Amazon link or GearBest or wherever I have it linked to, most likely it's going to be an affiliate link. So some of that money goes back to me and basically the channel and the printers out of anything. So next up, the other print that I printed, even though the Elegoo Mars did come with like a little side dripping printed part, the newer ones do come with like a actual injection molded part, not a 3D printed part. This one did come with a 3D printed part, but I didn't like it because you would have to take this off, slide that piece on, and then put it here. Whereas this one I found on Thingiverse, it is created by a person named Peter Solomon, and he created several different designs. This is his newest one. And what's nice about this is the way that it drips. You take this off and you put it on here, and if you notice, it basically all drips off to one side. So it drips off to one corner of the print bed, so you get the maximum drippage for your print. So that's really, really nice to have. At least I think is nice to have when you're trying to get your prints ready to get off the build plate with minimum resin that needs to come off of the prints. So basically, when you need to wash them in your wash station, whether it be a stir station or a ultrasonic cleaner, that would make it a lot easier because all the resin from those prints will actually drip off and build on this corner here and drip off on the corner instead of leaving residue all around here and creating a huge mess. So it's definitely a nice little thing to have when you get an Elegoo Mars. I highly suggest this print. Whether it be the one that drips off to one side or the one that just drips off to the corner. Either one will work perfectly good. Originally, I had printed the one where it just drips the whole build plate to one side. But this one I find is way more efficient because it does drip off to that one corner. So everything is just in that one piece instead of that one whole side of it. So that's definitely a very, very usable print. One that will definitely make things a lot easier for you. So I highly suggest this print out of anything. This first print that I told you guys about, that's kind of so-so. Yeah, really, it's not needed, but I just like having it my personal preference. So another thing that I did upgrade that I see a lot of people have issues with is the LCD screen. Sometimes when people pull off their vats, for some reason they lift up, and that pulls the actual LCD screen out of there because the sticky stuff that's underneath the LCD screen, well, it does adhere quite well, over amount of time with the suction and everything that you use with the vat. That does deteriorate pretty easily. So you can easily pull off your LCD screen and it will rip right off because there's only a little LCD ribbon cable holding it on. This little cable is just holding that. That's it. So you can easily just rip that right out of there and you're going to have a bad day because you're left with a broken printer and then you'll have to go and get an LCD screen. Thankfully, Elegoo does have cheap LCD screens, which can be used on various other printers. So that is kind of nice that that's out there, but it's still the fact that you'll be down on a printer. So one of the things I did to remedy this situation is I bought these LCD covers, and basically it's just a vinyl decal. As you can see, this one's kind of bubbly. I didn't really put it on all that great. But it's by Mach5.com. And that's MACH5 IVE.com. And they make these LCD cover decals, and they usually come in a pack of 3. I want to say it's around $15 currently. So that's a really, really nice thing to have. I actually have these on pretty much all my printers now, just because of the fact that I don't really like some of the printers that just have tape on it, and it looks really gaudy. This is a nice setup. Obviously, my other printers look a lot better than this, but as long as it's seating down the LCD screen, really, the way that it looks is not the end of the world. So as long as it's doing its job, the rest of it doesn't really matter. So again, I will provide the link for this down in the bottom. You can buy it from Mach5.com, or they do have it available on Amazon.com. I'm not so sure about other international Amazon places, but again, if you need to order it internationally, you can go on Mach5.com and you can get that. There is a link for people who are in the other parts of the world other than the USA. So that's really nice to have that. All in all, my print experience with this has been, I'd say, out of a 10, it would probably be about a 6, maybe 6.5 at best. Price points is very good. In fact, they're even lower now. I originally bought this when it was at its highest price, which was $280. And the problems that I've had with it, more or less with the Z height, which I have corrected. Basically, you have to dismantle this entire Z, dismantle the whole bottom, get to the Z motor, and put in a thicker washer on it. I was able to fix my Z from 19 millimeters to 19.64. So that gets me into the range where I can do the custom firmware on this and allow the Z to raise or lower a little bit more. So that way I can adjust for that that error of 0.4 millimeter. So that way I can get it within the spec that it's supposed to be. So I'm at least happy with that. It was a kind of difficult fix, but it's not something really anybody can't do. It's pretty straightforward. You unbolt the Z motor and then replace it, the washer inside of it, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's a very simple one. Now, if you want to spend a little extra money and basically make yours a Mars Pro Plus, there is another person out there in the UK. I forget his name exactly, but he does make a dual linear rail kit for the Mars, both models, the red and black and the orange and silver. Unfortunately, at the time when I bought my kit, we were unaware that there was 2 different styles for the drill holes. So when you are ordering, keep that in mind, that you order the right one for your part that you have. So if you order it, make sure it's for the red and black, if you have the red and black, obviously, and then the silver and orange. Because if you order the wrong one, the holes for the bottom base here are not going to line up properly, and you're just not going to have a very good day. So just make sure that you order the right part. Now, with that being said, that part is very expensive. It does take your Mars to a completely different level, but it also surpasses what the Mars Pro is, because already I'm spending $280. I think currently, as I'm shooting this video, the Mars has been brought down in price because the Mars Pro, but even if you buy it at the price that it is now, which I believe is around $230, $240 on Amazon, and you buy that $150 linear rail upgrade kit, you're still putting yourself past the Mars Pro and putting yourself into a different range of resin printers, whereas you could probably just buy yourself a better resin printer like the Nova or the Quiddy Tech, or even really, as much as I'm kind of against it, the longer Orange 30 or the G-Tech DP200. That puts you in that type of range. So definitely different printers for sure. And things are falling in the background. So, but yeah, other than that, besides the Z height issue, like I said, it's been a pretty good printer. I'm actually going to be selling this printer because it's not something I need right now. I'm actually going a little bit different. I'll be going with a bigger style printer, so I'll be getting rid of most of my smaller printers nowadays and replacing them with larger style because of the demand that's needed for them. So other than that, if you guys are interested in the printer, go ahead and get them, because for the price that they are at, they're a pretty good buy in terms of a good starter printer. And like I said, for the price that I paid for this, now you can pretty much buy the Mars Pro, which is the upgraded version of the regular Mars, with better linear rail, better LED array, and the active cooling fan that's, I believe, on the right-hand side. So that's definitely something to look into if you are interested in getting into resin 3D printing. They do have a great community of people behind this. Not as big as the Anycubic Photon community, but they are gaining quite a lot of people as of late. So there's a lot of people there to help you out with what you need in terms of, you know, really anything. And Matthew Barrett has been one that's helped me a lot on the Z height issue and getting that corrected, at least close to being corrected on this machine. So if you guys like the video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and you know, share it out with your friends. And until next time, happy printing.